Kuwaitis have a long history with the sea. They fished it and used it for trade. Now the dream is for every family to own a house on a beach by the Arabian Gulf and the chance to take out a boat for pleasure. But by the late 1980s, the country had less than 5 kilometers of sandy coastline left undeveloped. This is Fawaz Al-Marzouk. His family owns La Ala, a leading Kuwaiti development company. His father, Khalid Al-Marzouk, knew his country needed more waterside living, and so in 1985 he proposed building at Al-Khairan, an unpromising region of estuaries and tidal creeks near the Saudi border.
It was the idea and vision of my father, Khalid Yusuf Al-Marzouk, and his dream was to build cities. But this vision or dream would not be on reality as you saw right now, except the backing of Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad, and he is our ruler today. And in 1986, he gave us the first approvals, and he was the head of the planning committee. And he was in that time the deputy prime minister, minister of foreign affairs. And if it wasn't for his backing and the vision of my father, Khalid Al-Marzouk, we would not have this project on reality today. We applied for 6 locations, and from those 6 locations, we chose this location for the main reason of it is there are 2 creeks, and we use those 2 creeks to bring in the water.
In 1986, the Marzouks approached a British engineering and design consultancy called future.It. Terry Ely of future.It worked with the Marzouk family and created a plan that was unprecedented in its scale and ambition. The Marzouks wanted to expand these small tidal waterways into a vast system of beach-lined inland lagoons, all connected to the open sea, taking featureless salt flats and turning them into a new city.
The land was low-lying. It's sort of classified, if you like, as a marshy area. So it's too low to develop on, the ground too poor to develop on. But if you start removing material to produce waterways, the material you remove for the waterways, you use to raise the level of the land. So that made this an ideal site.
In an ingenious move, material dug out of the lagoons would be used not only to create a building platform, but also to raise the height of the land here, beyond any predicted sea level change due to global warming. But before work could start, war intervened. Iraq's invasion of Kuwait brought occupation and ecological disaster, as Saddam Hussein's retreating army set fire to hundreds of oil wells. It took years for the region to recover. And when it did, the new city had a rival, the mega construction projects of brash neighbor Dubai. These massive land reclamation and building projects begun in the 1990s have made headlines. But they have also troubled some environmentalists. That's because to build them, contractors must pump millions of tons of sand into the Gulf to create artificial islands, thus disturbing existing marine habitats. As plans were revived for Sea City at the turn of the century, the Marzouks were determined to do things differently, to build a city that made both economic and ecological sense.